Hey there guys, how's it going? My name is Sumedh Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy, and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. Today I want to talk to you guys about how you can find your own genius zone, your own flow code. How can you be able to find what really works for you instead of what works for everybody? You see, a lot of us are given predetermined pathways, like, oh, you have to do it this way, or you have to do it this very specific method. Look, there is no right path, there is just your path. Understanding that helps you go through a lot of different heartaches, bankruptcy, all sorts of random things that just will pull you down, all right? But if you have your flow code, it is your higher purpose, it is your divine will. It will be your gravitational pull that keeps you going. All right, once you have that drive, and I say drive and passion and momentum rather than motivation. Motivation is very temporary. You get motivated in the shower, but discipline and all these other things will keep you through, keep pushing you through until you find the gold at the end of the rainbow, per se. All right? What I really want to remind you guys of is noticing the patterns, synchronicities, and signs from the universe. Ever since you were a little baby, and until whatever age you are right now watching this, there was certain signs, symbols, things that caught your interest, things that magnetized your attention, things that made you think about something twice, not just once. Those are the things that you want to take note of. In terms of spirit animals, a lot of the interesting thing about that is it comes a lot from childhood trauma. Right, so for instance, if you fell from a height as a child or something, it might have something to do with a bird being your spirit animal, falling, right, flying. If you had, like I had a drowning incident, so one of my totem animals is a dolphin. It's been kind of one of my fight or flight activators. Like that, one of my biggest fears is that of drowning because I had that incident as a kid. Oftentimes the traumas, they shape us into who we are. So start to notice that can actually be your strength. The whole idea that you are taking the pain and the burden and all the stuff that you've gone through in life and making it your superpower again and turning your mess into your message is going to be ultra powerful. So noticing any patterns that you noticed when you were a kid, any shows that you love to watch. I love just like going back to all these things, right? Just different symbols and signs of like what really caught my interest. When I was a kid, what was the first moment where you saw something and you were like, that's magic, or that's wonderful, or that's mythology, I love that, or these moments where you just go, wow, those epiphany moments, make a note of that because that is going to be extremely crucial in getting you to build your curiosity factor, that childlike curiosity, so that you can figure out a way to slice through the competition. And I don't want to use that word slice through, but that's kind of what it is, right? Because once you are in your genius zone, it's like nothing can touch you, nothing can phase you. You're just completely there, and you're activating something that is invisible to you, but it's so crucial because it overlaps all the different areas of your life that they're all touching together in some way. It's like, that moment where you did a little performance in high school compared to the time where you first met your first mentor, taking a little flavor of that. It's like making and cooking, but you need all those ingredients from your past to make a beautiful present. Does that make sense? You're going through the Akashic records of time and you're just pulling the different things that really work for you and absorbing what is useful and effective to you, and is really amplifying the type of person that you prefer to be and the personality which serves the most people. So that's the first thing. Second thing, if you know one thing that you love doing better than anybody else, it can serve as a focal point. It can recalibrate your priorities, your goals, your time management, and your attention on a regular basis. Deliberate practice of your strengths. Thank you for that background music. I really appreciate it. Hey, so stop delaying your success. You know what I mean? Deliberate practice of putting your strengths daily, putting in more time into your strengths, basically. You know what I mean? Like, if we put our time more into our strengths and what we're doing and actually putting focus on ourselves, imagine, right? While your competition is sleeping, while people who are just going around and doing the same thing over and over again, you are there constantly chiseling away and perfecting this craft. Like, that's gotta feel good, right? That's just gotta feel good from within you. It's like you understand the system that you're creating for yourself. And once you can optimize and embody that system that you're creating for yourself, it doesn't have to be difficult. It can be very, very simple and easy and majestic and natural over the contents of our consciousness, right? Rather than allowing ourselves to be passively determined by the external forces. So your consciousness needs to become sharp. When people talking about raise your vibration or higher levels of consciousness, it's all about getting to that flow. You know, you want to release the anchors and just feel like, what is my most regular self? And remove all the judgments and insecurities about what the world thinks of you and all what this is and what that is, and like really understanding that, and just purely coming from what you enjoy and what you like, and letting it lift you up because it is your most natural self. You can't be fake like that. You can't, put on a persona and pretend to be like that. I mean, you start out there. We got to start somewhere. But then it just becomes whatever you put your focus on, it becomes you, right? So what you put attention to, it starts to formulate the character and the emphasis of what you truly want. And I would actually have different people that you're inspired by, different mentors, different gurus, different people you come across, different symbols and archetypes and different cartoons that you watch or different shows that you like. Have them in your room somewhere, have them in your background somewhere, have them on your desktop, somewhere where you can see it, so that you can tap into that frequency and that energy that they are releasing. I've always been inspired by, different cartoons that I've come across, The Simpsons specifically. You gotta really look into these adult cartoons like South Park and all these things. They are trying to give you different messages about the world through these shows, all right? And it's really about tuning in and really like perfecting, like what are they trying to really tell me? Like recently I'm watching Cobra Kai. It's just so wonderful, right? It's a wonderful show. Besides about shows, man, I mean, we need to start thinking of productivity and output in cyclical rather than linear terms, Many already recognize that we have peak times throughout the day where you're much more on point, where you're like, yes, and you're a better worker. And then there's also times where you're a better thinker, right? There are times where you're a better worker, and there are times where you're a better thinker, and other times all you're good for is just Netflix, right? So you have to figure out, like, what is the time of the day? What is my ultra-radian cycle, right? We want to think of productivity as not linear, as this and then this. We want to think of it as a cycle. So you're coming through different points of the day of just like, whoa, okay, I have more energy, less energy, okay? Stimulated through caffeine, okay, now there's going to be a crash. So how do I optimize that crash, right? How do I make it work for me? So really figuring out that cycle and understanding the flow cycle, of course, is important because it's the most basic biological cycle, right? I've said it so many times in my videos, but just to recap for the people watching this for the first time: struggle, release, flow, recovery. All right, it's very simple. So whenever you maximize your flow state, whatever your flow is, let's say you're a surfer, right? Let's say you love surfing, but then how can you use surfing and that analogy of surfing in being an actor? And how can you use being an actor in something else? This is why I love interdisciplinary work, right? A lot of the schools that I grew up in believed in this concept of interdisciplinary, right? I did a liberal arts college for 4 years in Vermont, right? And so, like, it was all about creating your own plan. And it was about mixing different archetypes and different subjects together to get to the core. And that sampling effect has always been there in my mind. It's like always just been, it's just been running in the background. From hip-hop sampling to, MMA, Jeet Kune Do style of just like taking this little thing from this thing and then this thing from something else and just being hyper-creative. I feel like the hyper-creative listening to me, they know exactly what I'm talking about, right? But for you to optimize your flow state, you're going to have to see those overlaps, make mind maps, start to get creative again, start getting into a brainstorming process again. We don't do that. Give yourself 2 hours and just lock yourself in your room. No distractions, nothing, and just start writing about you, what you want your life to be like, what you prefer, writing down your goals, right? Long-term and short-term, writing down your mission, what do you stand for? William Arruda, he suggests by writing a few simple questions. I'm going to give you these 3 simple questions that he recommends you write about. 1, what am I passionate about? Even say, what am I curious about, right? But what am I passionate about? 2nd is, what are my values? What do you stand for? What do you not stand for? And 3rd one is, what makes me great? What makes me great? It's a tough question to ask yourself, especially if you're living and you're sort of like, oh man, I don't want to sound conceited. I guess I'm kind of good at drawing. No, kind of is not good enough. That's not your flow state. I guess I'm kind of a good, skier. I'm sort of maybe good at that. No, this is not a sort of maybe thing, guys. Your flow state is you're all in. You're fully committed to it. It's not like this thing that you do kind of on the side. Like I could say rap is my flow state, right? Because I'm an artist, I put my music out there, but it's also not my main thing, right? If I went all in and all into my music, I could have a totally different type of lifestyle, but I've chosen this path of being a coach. And my music actually accentuates my coaching. You'll notice how when I'm speaking, it's sort of like a rapper doing this thing and finding environments, activities. Maybe I'll just rap this whole thing, right? Finding environments, activities, having real actions, no consequences to you while an athlete. I'll be picking harder of a course or opponent for you. And it could be simple as speaking up during a meeting or being shy and then publishing a book while you're eating. But yeah, anything that stretches your comfort zone into your stretch zone, right? Your genius zone. And just makes you a little bit on edge, you know? You want to be real, but a little bit like, there's a little bit of urgency there, like pulling you towards it. It's like, oh yeah, this can happen. I'm on it, right? This kind of momentum that's building. It's like you're always a moment away from that. And this is why I give my clients, flow state rituals that they can actually optimize and do. Ecstatic dance is an incredible one, breath work, all this stuff. It's just like, doing mudras as you're walking, right? All these things that just come naturally to you. There are real consequences, and you're finding an environment and activities that have real consequences to you. All right, it's not just like, oh yeah, I didn't hand in my report, I guess I won't get a good grade. It's like, do you really care about the grade? The way you're speaking about it seems like, oh yeah, I don't really care about school, man. I don't know why I'm doing this. Why? Why does that have to be your life? You feel like you're a shy person, you speak up. That's a flow state for you. Because to you, that shame that you feel while speaking up, that's pushing your boundary and that's pushing you out of your genius zone. Right? I know a lot of people, they take a sales job because it helps them to open up and, talk more with people. If at all anything, they're improving their skill set of speaking to others. What kind of commitment are you giving yourself? Is it 30% or is it 55% or is it 100%? Really, really doubling down and understanding like this is something I'm so committed to. Look, these videos for me, they're a commitment now because I'm doing them every day. So the 3 questions, again, what are the recap? What am I passionate about? What are my values? What makes me great? Flow is a cyclical thing. Yeah. Flow is a cyclical thing. Yeah. And stop delaying your success as well. Stop delaying it, like a lot of us, we delay our success. We're like, oh man, I'll do it later. No, there is no later. In fact, if everybody could have a watch that said right now on it as their time, it would be a different story. Procrastination is the disease of our nation. I'm not pro-crass, I'm con-crass. I'm against crassness and crass behavior. So not a procrastinator. You see, once I start these videos and I really get into a flow, it's like, these videos can go anywhere, you know what I mean? Like there's no set formula on what I'm going to talk about. I just take it wherever I want to. But at the end of the day, you guys get the message. You guys understand what it's about. You guys understand what it's about, man. You know what I'm saying? If you really want to understand what I'm talking about, no guy's going to come out here and be like, hi, my name is Jared. I'm here to talk to you guys about the flow state. Have you seen these videos? Have you seen these videos, guys? Are these guys at all in flow? So, the thing about flow state is, it's about this guy. His name is Chicxawalharfishishi. I can't even pronounce his name. And I'm talking about the flow state. Anyway, you need to get into a flow state to pronounce that name, anyway. So, the flow state is about challenge and skills ratio, okay? So, you have to balance your skills with the challenges. And if it's too challenging, okay, that's probably because, you're not challenging yourself enough and you're not skilled enough. Okay, listen, buddy. The way that you're speaking right now is not in flow. Okay, you're trying to memorize something and you're trying to justify and pseudo-intellectualize something that is not, it's just natural. Just get on a camera, press the button, record, and now you're flowing. You're talking about whatever comes out of your mouth, right? It's like blah, blah, blah. Like word vomit with a structure, right? And then you're giving it that structure with all these little dams and pockets where you can actually stop yourself and be like, okay, I'm taking this too far. Like, let me bring it back down. Let me enunciate this part a little bit more. Let me fine-tune this area a little bit more. That's what real immediate feedback is. Immediate feedback is not like, oh, I'm sorry, I should have been doing it the other way. I guess I'll try it again. hi there. And he does the same thing over. Have you ever seen someone do this? I've seen this a lot in my clients. I've seen this a lot in people where I'm trying to coach them in field, right? And they're just like, say hi. Hi. No, 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 with more energy. Hi. No, 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 with more energy. Hi. It's like you're not giving it more energy. What the heck is happening here, right? So there is a mental block, a physical thing, a blind spot that is blocking you from actually achieving and getting you to see what this thing is, right? I didn't even know flights were running. Damn. Put deliberate practice daily. If somebody's, working out for just 30 minutes, make it more. Make it like work out for 2 hours, bro. Not even kidding. Not even kidding. Because the thing is, like, if you're serious about it and you're serious about transformation, you're going to put more time into it. You're not going to half-ass it. Like, you're actually going to minutely pick apart the details and just be naturally consistent with it. Because you love it. You're enjoying it. It doesn't seem like work to you. And yeah, the extraneous stuff can be a little bit of work. The stuff that you don't want to do, well, you'll get to a certain point where you can delegate that, my friends, if you keep working at it. All right? Maybe not now, but eventually you will be. So I'm just going to tell it to you like it is. It's a process. It's a process, but we forget it's a process. A lot of the times we forget. And most of the things that we label as blocks are just they're little twitches. You know what I mean? They're just little things that are minute, that are just pulling us back. They aren't these huge grand things stopping us. They're just little tiny things stopping us. Like one single thought that says, nah, I can't do it. I'd rather not. It's just that one tiny little thing, right? It's so tiny, but we treat it like it's gigantic. What will my parents think of me if I go and start, swearing in front of a camera? How much of a disrespect would I be to my family if I ever said the word shit on camera? Right? It's it's such a tiny little thing, guys. You get what I'm saying? It's so minuscule. And this is what stops people back. It's not these grand things that are stopping people from achieving flow. It's these little things which we're unaware of, but they have a deep, profound insight because we've been thinking the same thought pattern for years and years and years and years and years. If you have the thought pattern that I can't make friends, and because of one incident in childhood where your friend betrayed you and you never trusted anybody ever again, okay, I've had lots of clients like this, not just one, that had the same issue of friendships destabilizing because they couldn't trust themselves because of one little event, one little memory that pulls itself and becomes a mental code that's like, okay, every time that you try to make a new friend, sabotage it and destabilize it because that is what we are teaching you, right? It's like someone possessing you. That's what it's like. It's literally what it's like. So let's be the exorcists here. Let's unwire and rewire the subconscious mind to make it for you and not against you, because it's always been for you. You just have to know how it works, how the mind works, and break it apart and be able to sustain and justify and be like a ninja with it, okay? You have to be a ninja with it, a Jedi with it. Use the Force with it. This is what I'm saying, guys, okay? This is not like, oh yeah, I'm just going to show up and I'm just going to do the same thing that I've done every 700 times before. Start from scratch, start from zero, have the ability to drop everything and do it all at once. Do it all at once, okay? This is my video. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I'm just rambling, but basically you get my point, right? To put all into this and really start to figure out what your flow state is, okay? It can be easy. You got to exercise control the contents of your consciousness. The contents of your consciousness. The contents of your consciousness. Have an amazing day, guys. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. Let's go.